Welcome back to Short Times. The movie opens on Pandora with Jake Sully reviewing his life since becoming the Amaticaya clan chief and joining the Na'vi. Netayam, Lak, and Tup were born to him and Neytiri. Additionally to Kiri, another adopted child who is the biological child of Grace Augustine's Na'vi avatar. The children also spend time with Spider, a human boy who was abandoned by the human scientists after the previous group left Pandora, because newborns couldn't be frozen in cryostasis. The kids consider Spider to be sort of a cousin, due in part to her own hatred of the Sky People. Neytiri believes the boy would be happier living with other people. While everything appears to be perfect, Jake's joy is quickly dashed when RDA shuttles start to descend upon Pandora, raising large portions of the forest and wiping out the wildlife. The other Na'vi and the children of Jake and Neytiri are brought to safety. Jake, on the other hand, holds his wife as they look in horror at the devastation left behind. After a year, in his own avatar body, Colonel Miles Quaritch awakens after being revived. While doing so, he attacks his former teammates, who are now all dressed as Na'vi. After viewing a video log he recorded prior to their previous failed mission to destroy the Na'vi's Tree of Souls, before he and his team were all killed, Quaritch quickly understands what transpired. Once they had gathered their new weapons, Quaritch makes the decision to lead a group back into Pandora with the express purpose of killing Jake. The RDA has colonized Pandora and established Bridgehead City, as well as a mining base there. Jake commands several Na'vi to use their Ikran to fly attacks on human supply lines and aircraft. Lak and Netayam make an effort to join the conflict, getting dangerously close to being hurt. Jake rescues them, but not before reprimanding them for putting themselves in harm's way. Along with the rest of the clan, the group heads back to their camp. Jake and Neytiri talk about the effects these changes are having on their kids' lives. Spider goes to the human research facility with Lak and Kiri, where Norm Spellman and Max Patel continue their work. As Grace's body lies in the tank, Kiri converses with her avatar. Spider continues by pointing out that unlike his Na'vi friends, who at least know who their parents are, he does know and dislike who his father was. Quaritch. General Francis Ardmore meets Quaritch and his team when they get to their base, and gives them an update on how things have gone since he was killed. Before explaining how they can take control of the situation, Ardmore lets them know the advantages the Amaticaya have over them. At the exact same time that the team enters the forest, Spider and Jake's children are playing there, while Kiri spends time outdoors. While surveying the former Link unit for humans and their avatars, the other kids notice Quaritch and his team. He discovers his skeleton inside the AMP suit where he was murdered. The villains track down the children. They recognize themselves as Jake's children because they have 5 fingers. When Quaritch meets Spider, he discovers he is the boy's father. Quaritch summons Ardmore and her team to come down, while he holds the other kids hostage. Jake and Neytiri are called to the location. Both are shocked to see their enemy alive and in a Na'vi body. Before they open fire, Neytiri kills some of Quaritch's team. She and Jake are successful in regaining custody of their children. However, Quaritch and his surviving teammates run and hide, taking Spider with them. Ardmore tortures the boy in order to extract information about the clan's location, but Quaritch intervenes and chooses to get closer to Spider in order to gain his trust. He persuades Spider to accompany him on their mission, or the researchers will experiment on him. Jake tells Neytiri that they must leave the clan now that they are being focused on. Neytiri, on the other hand, does not want to leave her home. Jake assures her that it is in the best way of their children and the rest of the clan. He hands over his power and command to another warrior, Tarsum, and departs the clan with Neytiri and their children. They take off in their Ikran and fly to the eastern seaboard, where the Metkaina clan of Na'vi lives. With their leader, the clan assembles Tanawari and Ronal, his pregnant wife. Although Ronal and other tribesmen are quick to look down on Jake and his children for their half-human heritage and the possibility of bringing their dangers to this land, Jake requests shelter on behalf of his family. Tanawari, however, respects the Torik Makto's accomplishment and permits them to stay. He also gives instructions to his children Anning and Soraya to teach Jake's kids how to adapt to their oceanic environment. Spider is being led through the woods by Quaritch and his crew. Spider serves as their translator for the Na'vi language, which the group is still learning. Quaritch succeeds in connecting to his own Ikran as well, even if with more vigor than the Amaticaya did. At the same time, along with Anning and Soraya and Anning's friend Roxo, Jake's kids join them as they explore the reef. Soraya teaches how they link to the underwater creatures in a similar way that the Amaticaya link to their own animals, and how they communicate with them using sign language. But when Laak tries to communicate with a creature, he is quickly dragged through the water and knocked off balance. Meanwhile, Kiri helps one of the creatures interact with Tuk, because she feels a more natural connection to them. Jake and Natiri are taught how to fly the Tsurak, which can move both in the air and underwater. Laak approaches Soraya, who demonstrates to him how to improve his underwater breathing. He also uses underwater creatures that breathe when they are lying on their backs to take him and his sisters deeper. However, due to Kiri's status as a half-breed, Anning and Roxo are hostile to her. Laak then strikes Anning in the face after that, along with Anning's friends. Nedayam also joins the fight. Later, Jake then reprimanded his sons for their misbehavior. Following that, Jake forces Laak to apologize to Anning. When he does, Anning invites Laak to go on the hunt with him and his friends. They get quite far, tricking Laak into going after a creature just as an Akula attacks him and his prey, killing his mount before going after Laak. Before he exhausts himself, Laak tries to swim back up, but Akula chases after him until a Tulkun named Payakan saves him. Later, as Laak pursues Payakan, he finds a harpoon stuck within the fin. Laak manages to get it out and obtains Payakan's trust. Jake speaks with Kiri, who has been feeling strange lately as a result of what she has witnessed. She claims she can feel the mighty heartbeat of their goddess Awa. Jake assures her that nothing is wrong with her. Everyone then witnesses Laak's reappearance. Tanawari scolds Anning for taking Laak beyond the reef when it is prohibited. However, Laak accepts responsibility for everything in order to keep Anning out of trouble. Jake tells Laak that his actions have embarrassed the family, but Anning grows to respect Laak. Following that, Laak shares his encounter with Payakan with his siblings, Soraya, and the other Metkaina. Soraya then informs Laak that Payakan is viewed as an outcast among the other Tulkun. Laak then makes contact with Payakan in an effort to learn more about his past. Soraya leads the others to the Ancestral Cove, while demonstrating how the landscape will appear during the eclipse. She also directs them to the Metkaina Tree of Souls underwater. Kiri is able to see and speak with grace when she connects to the tree, but shortly after, Kiri experiences a terrible seizure, and her siblings take her to the shore. The Metkaina, including Romel and her soul sister Roel, form a bond with their Tulkun. Shortly after that, Quaritch and his team show up. They brutally murder a Tulkun and threaten a Metkaina woman if they don't reveal where Jake and his family are. Spider cries out in horror and begs his father to stop. The bad guys then start setting their houses and trees on fire. To entice Jake to them, Quaritch commands his team to attack. Quaritch orders his team to attack in order to catch Jake's attention. Laak tries once more to question Payakan about what he did to make him an outcast. Payakan opens his mouth, allowing Laak to enter and connect with him. Laak sees Payakan's memories and realizes he attacked the whalers because they murdered his mother and family. Laak tries to tell the Metkaina about the new information, but Jake tries to silence him so that they don't further alienate the Metkaina. Laak discusses this with Soraya, who believes in him. Right after that, the whalers launch inflatable-filled harpoons at the Tulkun, including Roa and her child, piercing their fins as they launch their attack. When Romel and the other Metkaina arrive and take their material from her, Romel cries out in pain over the death of her soul sister and her child. Along with a large number of enraged Metkaina, Tanawari and Romel blame Jake for bringing the bad guys to their territory, as they knew would happen. Jake instructs the Metkaina Metcaina to alert the Tulkun. Before more of them are killed, after pointing out that they will be marked for death with the Whalers' trackers, Laak leaves to warn Peakin even though Nedaim warned against it, but Laak still goes. Later, Nedaim goes after his brother, Soraya, Anning, Kiri, and Tuk all continue after him. Once they locate Peakin, he has already been tracked. Later, Nedaim alerts Jake, and he and Neytiri set out to rescue their children. The Whalers launch their attack targeting the children and Tulkun. Metcaina warriors join Jake and Neytiri in the fight. The children are taken prisoner on the ship after being captured during the fight. Quaritch orders Jake and company to stand down, holding Laak at gunpoint to prove that he is serious. Jake is about to give up when Peakin notices that his soul brother is in danger. As a result, he jumps out of the ocean and smashes down onto the ship, taking some whalers with him. The Na'vi take advantage of this opportunity to attack. They are able to kill the majority of the whalers with the aid of Peakin and the Metcaina. When Scaresby tries to harpoon Peakin, the man succeeds in wrapping the wire around their boat, killing the men, and also severing Scaresby's arm. Kiri uses her abilities to control the ocean environment to kill some whalers after the kids escape. Additionally, Spider turns against the other humans as well and reunites with his Na'vi clan. During the fight, Nedaim saves his siblings and their friends, but he is wounded. The family finds a rock and tries to aid Nedaim there, but he passes away from his injuries. Neytiri sobs in pain and grief over the death of her son, and the rest of the family is heartbroken. Quaritch reveals to Jake that he is holding Kiri and Tuk hostage in a phone call. Jake enters the sinking ship with Neytiri, Spider, and Laak for the crucial showdown. As Jake approaches his enemy, Neytiri cruelly slaughters Quaritch's team as payback. Following Jake's free Tuk, Quaritch appears, holding Kiri and a knife to her throat. Neytiri grabs Spider and threatens him with death. Despite his attempts to deny his concern for and relationship with the boy, Quaritch relents and lets Kiri go after Neytiri cuts Spider across his chest. Neytiri rescues the children, and Jake decides to fight to the death with Quaritch. The ship begins to completely descend, the family being submerged. Quaritch is fought by Jake until he is able to put him in a chokehold and allow him to submerge. When Laak finds his father, he is told to leave without him because Jake doesn't believe he will survive. However, Laak helps his father breathe by using the technique Soraya taught him, and they escape with Peakin. In the meantime, Kiri calls forth the sea life to assist her in rescuing Tuk and Neytiri. Spider dives into the water to save Quaritch, but he deserts him because of his evil deeds and returns to Jake's family, where Jake formally adopts him as a son. Jake is getting ready to bid Tanawari farewell. However, he informs Jake that he and his family are now Metcaina and are welcome to stay. After that, Nedaim's family holds a funeral for him and learns that he has joined Awa after being given to the Tree of Souls. When Jake and Neytiri connect to the tree, Nedaim is visible to them there through memories. Jake makes a promise to keep fighting for and defending his family because he recognizes this place as their new home.